Ray Flores for making the rounds here in New York as we get set for next week's matchup between Ruslan Provodnikov and Chris Algieri at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Brian Campbell, Dan Rafael, former welterweight champion of the world. Tim Bradley joining us. Tim, Ruslan Provodnikov, the WBO junior welterweight champion of the world, a man you know quite well.
Yes, I do. He's a very, very tough opponent for anybody in the junior welterweight division and welterweight division. Hard puncher, and I'm very curious to see how he's going to react to this boxer that he's going to be facing next week.
On paper, Dan, this isn't the biggest name. Do we see a letdown on the behalf of Ruslan Provodnikov?
Sometimes you might say yes, but knowing just the ferocity with which Ruslan Provodnikov trains and the intensity level that he maintains all the time, I don't see it. I think he is not going to overlook anybody because it's not about his opponent, it's about himself. He puts himself through the meat grinder the way Timmy does when he trains for fights. And it's not about the opponent, it's about himself. So I think Ruslan's going to come and he'll be just as focused and intense if he was fighting a rematch with Tim or if he's fighting a guy that he never heard of.
For you, Brian, Chris Algieri has never been on this stage whatsoever. He's fighting pretty much in his backyard at the Barclays Center. He's from Long Island. With this matchup, does he have butterflies, and do the lights get to one Chris Algieri?
That's going to be interesting to see, not just the butterfly factor, but how he deals with that relentless pressure of Ruslan Provodnikov, which is why we love watching him. But here's a key question that will be answered. In any way, are we overrating what Provodnikov is doing? Did he beat up maybe a damaged Alvarado? In the rounds that he fought Tim Bradley when Tim boxed, did that sort of show how you can get to Ruslan Provodnikov, how you can give him trouble? This is going to be a fight against a slick boxer in Algieri where Ruslan's going to have a chance to answer those questions. Is he as good maybe as we think he is?
For you, Tim, as we look ahead towards next week's matchup between Ruslan Provodnikov and Chris Algieri, if you were Algieri, how would you fight Ruslan Provodnikov? I knew you picked up the victory over Provodnikov before, but stylistically, how would you fight Ruslan Provodnikov if you were to step inside the ring with him next Saturday?
You have to outbox Ruslan Provodnikov. If you stand there a second too late, I mean, he can land a big shot on you. Ruslan Provodnikov is not only is he a big puncher, he's very clever in there as well. I mean, he changes up his combinations. He punches well to the body. I've seen that he adjusted his game now. He's throwing more body shots. But if I was Algieri, I honestly would just tell him to move, use your jab, counter punch, move effectively, and get out of the way. And don't stand there. Don't stand there, because Ruslan will close the gap on him. He will close the gap on him. He will land some big shots.
If Provodnikov defeats Chris Algieri, Dan, do we see Provodnikov and Pacquiao?
I think it's possible. Freddie Roach addressed that when he talked about it a little bit. Said he would sit out the fight, actually, because he trains both guys. If he can't get Pacquiao, I'd like to see him with this guy again.
What do you think about that, Tim? Again?
Everybody would like to see that. But I think, honestly, Ruslan Provodnikov is making a little noise. I think that he continue on to win and beat good quality opponents, and there's a possibility you could see me and him go at it again.
Making the rounds is on site here in New York as we get set for Ruslan Provodnikov, Chris Algieri, Barclays Center in Brooklyn, June 14th.